Hi there, it's Jennifer Britton, and I'm back for another Teams 365 Team Development Activity Series. Today we're at L, and as I thought about L, I was thinking we could go into leverage, we could talk about loyalty, we could talk about lifelines, and why don't we talk about life cycle of teams and groups? I think against the backdrop of all of this, as team developers, group members, and also leaders, we want to think about where we're at in the overall life cycle of our being. As teams come together, and this could be an intact team, a project team, virtual team, we want to make sure that we're giving people an opportunity to connect, get to know each other, and build trust. Years ago, Bruce Tuckman came up with a model. He studied what happens within the life cycle of teams and groups, and we often refer to his model as the Tuckman's model. So his first stage is the forming stage. And in the forming stage, it's important for people to feel connected, to understand where they're going, what's the purpose of the group, what's the vision. These things may be communicated by the leader, or it may be co-designed with the entire team. So think about where your team is right now, and if it's a new team, what are you doing to help people connect, help people understand what they're bringing to this team entity? Now, make sure that the activity choice that you're choosing is something meaningful. And we can all think about icebreakers that worked and also icebreakers that missed their mark. So as teams get to know each other, they then inevitably move into a stage that we call storming. And this is often characterized by conflict, either overt or covert conflict. So you may see people actually not getting along together. You may see people actually withdrawing. So be noticing what's happening with the team in terms of the storming stage. The storming stage is where team members are trying to figure out who we are, how do I fit in? And it is natural to have some level of conflict. What's important is when teams get arrested or stuck in this stage. So be noticing when you're in the storming stage. At this stage, it may be useful to do some work around styles or strengths, helping people understand that they each uniquely bring different things to the table, and giving them the tools and or models to help them keep moving forward, using a shared approach to conflict. Okay, so once we're out of the storming stage, we can then get to norming. And as we know from high performance literature, the norming stage is absolutely critical. In the norming stage, we get to decide as a team who we are, how we want to operate, what are those behaviors that are acceptable and not acceptable. So again, if I point back to some of the writing I've done this year at the Teams 365 blog, I've shared some of the research that Charles Duhigg wrote about earlier in February 2016. He shared the Google experience in terms of Google's high-performing teams being that way because of the norms, the collective norms that they shared. So at the team development stage of norming, we really want to help people understand who they are. Again, that's a continuation of the styles conversation. We want to make sure, if it's not already in existence, having team agreements, shared team agreements on how they want to operate, and clear commitments and practices that teams are coming together for communication, decision-making, and accountability with each other. So once we get into norming, we're then able to perform. And team leaders' role, of course, in the performance realm is to really step back, make sure resources are provided, step forward, provide some feedback, create those feedback loops. So be thinking about what's going to help the team perform. Now, we know that high-performing teams are great at getting the work done together, and they're also good at having relationships with each other. So at this time of year, i.e. the end of the year, it's a great time to put some attention around how are we going to have fun together. Having fun, sharing those created experiences, or creating those shared experiences can also be a key part of the team development process. Now, teams do come to an end, especially if teams are disbanding because the project is over. Maybe it's a whole new global team that's coming together and is going to be in a regional focus instead of a global focus. If your team is coming to a close, think about the activities you want to do to celebrate and acknowledge the milestones. Create that space for learning. So that can take a number of forms, whether it's a virtual dialogue, whether it's an acknowledgement session. There are many ways that we can be getting team members to really focus in on how do we want to celebrate and acknowledge our learning. So in a few minutes, that is the Tuckman's model in its entirety. And again, today we're at L for life cycle. I hope you've been enjoying these Teams 365 mini blog posts Some of them have been written, some of them have been video. We are now almost halfway through the Teams365 Team Development series. You can check it out at potentialsrealized.com. And again, my name's Jennifer Britton. I look forward to speaking with you. Perhaps we can support you and your teams in terms of further team development through a coaching program, or maybe some on-demand learning at our Teams365 learning portal. All right, see you soon for our next Teams365 Team Development. Bye-bye.